Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a nice day and or night, and this is a very late Mezco review. Mezco Dr. Fate from the 1/12 Collective came out probably a handful of months ago, but this is my channel, and I get to do whatever I want. Right, Natalie? Alright, so yeah, this is a late review, and talking about Mezco for me is difficult because I don't really know what to say. I enjoy a lot of the figures, but I don't have the vocabulary to really bring anything more to the table that hasn't already been said. Still, I want to take a look at these figures because I did buy them, I do add them to my collection, and I think it's worth taking a look at regardless. So sit back and let's just get this unboxed and take a look at Dr. Fate. And before we take a look at the figure, let's take a look at this art. This is beautiful, and it is in the smaller Mezco box design. I love these smaller boxes. They're better for storage. I think they utilize the space better. It feels a bit more premium when it's in a smaller box. I don't know why that is, but when they stopped using magnets so you could see the figure behind the plastic thing and it was just a giant box, it kind of felt like you weren't getting what you were expecting. But with a smaller box, you get more than enough, and it actually feels like a more fun experience to me. That's my opinion. But this art is beautiful. I want them to keep doing stuff like this. This is a beautiful box right here. On the side, we got this Ankh symbol and the same art right there. So that's the box. Let's take a look at the figure. And here is the figure in the plastic tray. There's two layers, so we'll talk about this first layer first. And obviously, you got the figure right here. You got an unmasked head. You got just an empty mask, some hands, and a little book accessory. And that is all well and good. And taking a look at the second tray, and this little effect piece has fallen out of sorts, but it should be there. Got two other effect pieces right there, and the stand and the support arm and some adapter pieces. So I am loving the variety here, I guess. So I can't wait to get a closer look at it. All right, and here is a closer look at this beautiful figure. And I guess I use that word a lot. I say things look beautiful, I say sculpts look beautiful, but fabric that they chose, the gold that they chose to contrast it, it just looks like an Alex Ross painting. That's kind of the best example I can think of, because Alex Ross does beautiful art. Usually he has these striking colors with striking shadows, and that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. Obviously it's a little bit Mezco-fied, so it's not super comic book accurate per se. They made it their own thing. They said, what if Dr. Fate existed in the real world and he doesn't have a superhero movie yet? That's basically kind of what this is going for. So some details here that I'm picking out is all this nice sculpting here, and Dr. Fate is a crazy story. This is the Kent Nelson version, but if you know DC lore, there is a whole bunch of Dr. Fates. Dr. Fate is more of a mantle that people pick up, but Kent Nelson is the original, and he is the son of an archaeologist, and they went on an expedition, and his dad died when he opened some tomb or whatever, and the thing that came out that killed his father decided to train him because he felt bad or whatever, and now he's Dr. Fate, and it's a twisted, mystical H.P. Lovecraft. I read a whole essay, which I'll leave links in the bio if you're interested, about how Dr. Fate is basically a response to Lovecraftian monsters and villains. But yeah, I read quite a bit about this figure just so I could have a better background knowledge. I only really know Dr. Fate from the stories that he kind of joins in on later. I haven't really read Dr. Fate comics, and they're hard to find. I actually tried to go to my local comic book store a while ago, tried to find some Dr. Fate comics to brush up my knowledge, and they had none. So with Pierce Brosnan coming in to play Dr. Fate, Kent Nelson in the Black Adam movie, hopefully he gets some more recognition, because Dr. Fate is a crazy DC character, and maybe even better than Doctor Strange. Getting back to the figure, there is one thing I don't really like, and it's these pieces right here. They just feel small when the rest of the figure feels larger than life. I don't know, it feels flat, it's not really dynamic. The texture is cool, and the color matches pretty close, but I'm just not a huge fan. So, getting up to the top portion of the figure, and you will see those soulless eyes, and both of these eyes and the chest glow, but when they're turned off, he looks kind of menacing, dead even, so it's a pro and con. I like the light up features, but maybe another head where his eyes are painted would have been cool as well. Getting to the back, and this cape is kind of beautiful actually. It's wired all the way around so it can hold super cool poses, whatever you want. It's a bit heavy, so it's not going to flow directly up. It can get some dynamic poses. And again, this texture they used looks Alex Ross-like. I don't know why. So let's get to that light feature, and how you're going to do this is you're going to want to take off this head, and that is where the light is, and you're going to rotate it counterclockwise and pull it out. Here with the batteries already installed, you'll see this off and on switch. Switch it to on and you can see this blue light here. It's going to not show up very well on camera. We'll turn the lights off in a sec, but you get the gist. And you can't see that at all. So let me turn this off. And there we go. There's the glowing effect. And it looks pretty good in person. It's not overly bright. I think I would have liked if it was a bit brighter. Maybe the batteries are dying already, I have no idea, but as you can see, it does look pretty cool when both of these things are lit up. It looks a bit more mystical. This is some pretty cool lighting too. So first impressions on this figure is, yeah, he's gorgeous. I like the more colorful comic version they're going with. It's still Mezco-fied, as people say, but definitely stays true to the comics more than maybe some of their other characters, so I do like that quite a bit. Getting to head sculpts, and we saw this one already. It's the masked head sculpt. You can see his ear and hair popping out of the side, so that's some nice attention to detail. Again, wish he came with another one where the eyes were painted, but this will have to do. Switching the head is pretty easy. Here's his unmasked one. An older Kent Nelson, which Pierce Brosnan looked perfect for the role, so I'm excited for that. But this head sculpt is beautiful. It's one of Mezco's better ones. I think this year in 2021, they've improved so much when it comes to their head sculpts. I don't think this lighting right now is doing it justice, but it is gorgeous. The eyes look real. The texture of the skin, as well as some of the wrinkle detailing, looks great. The hair always could use a little bit of extra help. I don't like the black wash hair. It looks like more of a helmet, but the actual face here looks remarkable. His third and final head sculpt is just an empty helmet. It can't fit over his head. It's really meant for him to hold in his hands or whatever, something like that, just with a different hand. So it's a nice accessory, but I don't have much more to say about it than that. Getting to his hands, and he comes with 5 pairs of hands, packaged with these fists. Pretty typical of Mezco. They look nice. I like the armor plate detail on them. Then he comes with an array of Sorcerer Hands, but these ones are both different. They're not identical to each other. So this left one, his hands at a bit more of an arch, so that looks pretty cool. And then his right hand is a bit more clenched together. So they're different enough, so if you pose them both together, that doesn't look super weird. Then he comes with a pair of these open, almost grabbing hands. I guess they're just dynamic hands, but yeah, they can hold the helmet, or you can use them for whatever you'd like. And you get a nice look at the detail there on the palm of the hand. They even have some sculpting going on that carries through. So just really nice attention to detail, really nice quality overall. His second to last pair of hands are these typical sorcerer hands. Like, these are what I think of when I think of comic book characters that know magic. So yeah, these look nice. I guess they're Doctor Strange hand or Dr. Fate hands, whoever's your favorite, but nice and mystical. And again, they are not the same. They're not the same, just replicated and flipped. These fingers right here are a little bent, while these are a bit more straight, and that little tiny detail adds to the character. I think for photography reasons, it looks a bit more interesting, and it's a tiny detail that you wouldn't know. And his last pair of hands are these relaxed open hands, and I believe these go with the next accessory that we're about to look at, but individually they look nice, and for the third and final time they're not the same hands. Again, these fingers are just a bit different than these ones, so little details here and there I think go a long way, so I appreciate that kind of stuff. The accessory that we were going to take a look at is his Sorcerer Book, and there's a name for it, and I knew it right before I started filming this very segment, so I'm going to put it up here. That's the name of the book, and it looks nice. I mean, it is has a nice sort of old leather texture, I guess you'd call it, but then there's this nice gold that's contrasting it, and there's a black wash on it to get all those little details. But the actual beauty to this accessory is that when you open it, there are actual pages in here, and it opens like a book should. And on these pages are little hieroglyphs that I guess only he can read. And it would be great if it was just maybe you open the book and there's a flat piece of white here and it's something to use, but no, there are individual pages here. And as you can see, these individual pages do not repeat themselves directly. I'm sure there's a point in the book where they just repeat it, because why would you come up with, what, 20-ish pages of new stuff? But you flip the pages around and you'll see that not everything is exactly the same. We got a diagram there, so it's a tiny little thing that they didn't have to do, but they did, and it's greatly appreciated, and that's what reviews should be about. It's appreciating the little things. So that's the most important page right there. Not sure about that, but I'm just going to say it is. And there you go. There's a possible pose for you, Dr. Fate, studying up, because he is a doctor. No? But yeah, this is a cool pose, and it just, again, adds character. It's a toy. It's a plastic toy. It doesn't have any character. It's not a real thing. But these little tiny accessories sort of make it a bit more charming, a bit more relatable, even if he is a sorcerer of older than 1,000 years or whatever. Looks great, no complaints. Let's move on. Alright, and getting to this second tray, and let's talk about this base. It's really boring and not very interesting, but I don't really care. The Mezco bases are typically like this. They just have the logo of the character and the beautiful but too big Mezco support arm. The base and the support arm are way too big. There's a little peg here for him to step on, but you can push that out from behind like that and have him in a dynamic flying pose, which you're probably going to do. This is Dr. Fate. His final accessories include these 3 effect pieces and how he can go about using them. They are in a clear, translucent yellow plastic, and they do the job. I don't really have a strong feeling towards them. I like them. I think they look better when they're with the figure, but as flat plastic pieces, they're just flat plastic pieces. To use them, you have 2 adapter pieces. These go around his wrist, and these will jut out from underneath or above his wrist, and there's where you can put these plastic pieces. So it'll look like he's using them, but they won't be plugged into the palm of his hand, which is what Doctor Strange SHF did, and it looks bad. So this was their alternative, and we'll see how it looks. Put the hand back on, and now you have this clear adapter piece where you can take an effect piece. Be careful with these. I've seen that people have broken these off into this, so just be careful when you're putting it on and taking it off. So just be gentle, and there we go. There's Dr. Fate using one of his spells or whatever he uses. I like this alternative, but it's not perfect. I don't really know how I feel about it. I like that it's articulated, so you can kind of get more movement in there. And it's not just and it doesn't just stick into the palm of his hand, so I like that, but I don't know. It's definitely innovative, problem solving, but maybe not perfect. See if that does anything. Yeah, I don't know. It does the job. And obviously the most impressive effect piece is going to be the largest one, and it's that symbol. And it's definitely a cool pose. So, and one last thing I should mention about the light is that the light only shoots forward so much, so when you turn his head enough, you will lose the light in one of those eyes, and that's, that's a little disappointing. It would have been a lot better if they had worked around that some way, but the light feature does enhance the figure. And finally there's this piece, and I am unsure as to what this is. I bought this figure used, and I don't think the manual, like the instruction sheet is around, so I may or may not put a picture up of what this is supposed to do. I'm going to try and figure out right now, but yeah, I don't know what this is, but this is the last piece here. Alright, so before the conclusion, I'm just guessing that this piece goes into the wrist adapters and you can hold the book out, but that's the best guess that I have. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, maybe that's what it is. He's just shooting a book out of his finger. I don't know. So at the end of the day, I think this is a very successful figure. I've only taken a look at Mezco Iron Fist, I think, this year before this, so in comparison, I think they're about the same. Mezco can either give us a lot of head sculpts and it's great, or they give us 2, and that was the biggest issue that I had with Iron Fist, is that he comes with 1 masked and 1 unmasked, and no yelling faces, no smiling, no kind of character. But for a character like Dr. Fate, who is well known to be wearing the iconic helmet, it's not much of an issue. And this book is the star of the show, obviously. That is one of the nicest Mezco accessories I have ever seen. So the overall figure looks great, the accessories are pretty solid, and my complaints are little. There's a few things I don't like. These things specifically, the articulation, the joints on mine are a little tight, but overall, I am blown away, and this is going to be a great figure in the display. So, if you like this video, be sure to give it a like, comment, or subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Stay tuned for more content, and with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.